So when the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam was in Mecca, some of the kuffar of Quraysh, when he was in Mecca, he was making sajda, and they put on his shoulder the intestines of a dead camel. So you can imagine that the intestines of the dead camel was rotten, it was stinky, it was wet. They put all of that stuff on his shoulder. All of the companions were sitting there, they didn't move, not a single one stood up. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi wa kafa wa salawatullahi wa salamuhu ala nabiyyina al-Mustafa al-Mujtaba wa ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayhi amma ba'du. As it has been announced, this lecture is dealing with an integral part of Al-Iman bil-Yawm al-Akhir. And the 6 articles of faith, believing in Allah and His angels and His books, and in believing the prophets and the messengers, salawatullahi wa salamu alayhim ajma'een, believing in Yawm al-Akhir, and believing in the qadr, the good of it and evil of it. It is not enough for a Muslim just to say, I believe in those 6 things. All of them, they have their details. They all have their details. Believing in Allah, there's a way you have to believe in Allah. Where He is, where He isn't, what He does, what He doesn't do, and so forth and so on. What are His names, what are His characteristics, so forth and so on. And also believing in the books that were revealed, believing in the angels, all of them have their details. So part of believing in Al-Yawm al-Akhir is for the Muslim to believe in all of those things that we were told were going to happen before Yawm al-Qiyamah, and all of the things that we were told are going to happen after Yawm al-Qiyamah and during the actual day of Yawm al-Qiyamah. To disbelieve in aspects of it, it could lead someone outside of the fold of Islam. They become excommunicated because they are rejecting what Allah has revealed and what the Prophet brought, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And right now, this new year, Gregorian calendar, Kuffar Christian New Year, 2020, the normative Islam is under threat. So I look in this masjid right now and see all the faces, brothers, sisters. 5 years, 10 years from now, normal Islam is not going to be accepted if things continue to go as they're going. We have weak, evil Muslims. Some of them are not even Muslims. They're munafiqun, who do their level best in order to change what is the real Islam that we're supposed to be believing in. What is the real Islam? So with that being the case, we have people who feel it is okay for a Muslim to cherry pick, take from Islam what you want and leave from Islam what you want. And a lot of the issues concerning Yawm al-Akhir are like that. A lot of the things. So just to get into the subject very quickly, I just want to make it very important that you guys understand we have to believe in everything that the Prophet brought, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, everything that was revealed to him by Allah, whether you can get your head around it or you can't get your head around it. That's what it is to be a Muslim. As for the kuffar, it's a different issue. The kuffar, they did not believe in Yawm al-Qiyamah. They believed in Allah, but they made shirk with Allah. They believed in the malaika, but they believed in the malaika the wrong way. They said that the malaika were the daughters of Allah, that Allah had a nikah with the jinn, and then the malaika came. But they believed in the malaika. They believed in the prophets and the messengers. When the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam was visited by Jibril in those ayahs, Iqra, Bismi Rabbika alladhi khalaq, when that happened and he went to Khadija, she said, go to my cousin, Nawfal ibn Waraqa. He'll know what happened. When the Prophet told him what had happened, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, that's the namus that came to Musa. So he believed in Musa. They heard about Musa. They knew that Ibrahim was the one who had something to do with the Kaaba along with his son Ismail. Kuffar of Quraysh, they believed that. So they believed in the 5 arkan of al-Iman. But the one they didn't believe in is they didn't believe in Yawm al-Qiyamah. They thought that was an absurdity, that the Prophet would come and tell them, believe in Yawm al-Qiyamah, which should give us an appreciation for the courage of the Rasul of Islam, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He knows that he's going to come to a group of people who are going to make fun of him and ridicule him because of some aspect of his da'wah and his deen, and he wasn't afraid. Not like the Muslims today, we're afraid. So they say, if you want to work here, cut your beard. If you want to work here, you can't pray here. If you want to work here, you can't go to Jummah. If you want to work here, you can't wear hijab. The Muslim, okay. And that's one of the signs of Yawm al-Qiyamah. The Prophet mentions, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, يأتي على الناس زمان لا يبالي الرجل من أين أخذ ماله أم من الحرام والحلال. One of the signs of Yawm al-Qiyamah is that a person, a Muslim, is going to be on the scene at that time. He doesn't care where he gets his money from. Would it be halal or haram? He doesn't even think about getting welfare, and lying is not permissible. He doesn't think about it. It's not a part of something that concerns him. He believes in salah, zakat. He believes in hajj, umrah, importance of tawheed. He believes in all of that. But the system he got used to, just get the money, lying, just get the money. So what the point here is, the Nabi had courage, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to get up to the people and tell them, hey, look, this is our religion. The other day, I got a new phone, and I don't want to digress, but this is important. I got a new phone from Vodafone. When I was in Vodafone in Birmingham, there were a bunch of young brothers and sisters who were Muslims. They were all Muslims. And they had Christmas clothes on. The Santa Claus hat, they had sweaters, red, white, green, with reindeers and things like that. The young brother that was taking care of me, I said to him, why are you guys wearing those clothes and you're Muslims? He said, all of us are students in the university. We have to pay these bills, the loan, and they asked us to do it and so forth and so on. I said, what about that guy over here? Why doesn't he have the uniform on? Is he a manager? They said, no. So he looked at me, I called him over. I said, what's the deal? Why you don't have the uniform they do? He said, it's against my religion. I said, what's your religion? He said, I worship the devil. So the one who worships the devil, he has courage not to put on Santa Claus garb. And the one who is supposed to be from the children of al-Islam and the Tawheed and al-I'tisam and the Sunnah, that's the one who says, I don't want to get the people upset. The Prophet wasn't like that, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He was an individual who came to the people, and a lot of things that the people didn't like, they didn't embrace, he called to it. The most important of which is a Tawheed. There was something they didn't believe in. So as it relates to this issue, we have a number of ayat of the Quran. وَضَرَبَ لَنَا مَثَلًا وَنَسِيَ خَلْقًا قَالُوا مَنْ يُحْيِي الْعِظَامَ وَهِيَ الرَّمِيمُ قُلْ يُحْيِيهَا الَّذِي أَنْشَأَهَا أَوَّلَ مَرَّةٍ وَهُوَ بِكُلِّ خَلْقٍ عَلِيمٌ. They have given us an example, Allah said, about those kuffar. They picked up the dirt or the bones, they crushed it like this. They said, who's going to bring life to these bones after it became dust, ramim? Tell them the one who gave life to it the very first time is going to bring them back to life. So kuffar Quraysh, they had a lot of that. وَقَالُوا أَإِذَا دَلَلْنَا فِي الْأَرْضِ أَإِنَّا لَفِي خَلْقٍ جَدِيدٍ. They said, when we get all scattered around in the earth, you mean to tell me we're going to be a new creation? Man fell over the boat. The shark came and ate him and swallowed him up. That man is coming back, Yawm al-Qiyamah. He's coming back, Yawm al-Qiyamah. So when the Prophet came and he called to that, the people said that he was majnoon. People said that he was stark, raving mad to even say something like that. But he did it, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So I think that the first talk was talking about the small signs. So I don't want to be repetitive, but I have to mention this. There are two types of signs, the minor ones and the major ones. The minor ones right now, we're seeing them every day. One of them I want to mention very quickly so that we can appreciate the khayr that we are in, being in this masjid, being in Manchester. And that is what's taking place to our Muslim brothers in China, and what's going on in Iraq and Syria, in India right now, where they're trying to exterminate the Muslims. We can't allow ourselves to forget that we have to stand in solidarity with our brothers and sisters across the globe, at least in making dua and feeling what they feel. I want to use the weak hadith. من لا يهتم بشؤون المسلمين فليس منهم. Whoever doesn't pay attention to the affairs of the Muslims is not a Muslim. We have a weak hadith, but we do have a religious responsibility to remind ourselves, remind each other about the haqq that they have upon us, that we make dua. So concerning those small signs, just wanted to mention that the very first small sign was the coming of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Once Allah sent Rasulullah to Bani Adam sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that was a way of letting them know Yawm al-Qiyam is close. He mentioned sallallahu alaihi wasallam, bu'ithtu ana was-sa'a kahatain. I have been sent close to the hour like this. So he's been sent over 1400 years ago, but Yawm al-Qiyam is close. So there are a number of ayat like that, a hadith. Also, some of the smaller signs that have been mentioned in the Quran, like the statement of Allah Ta'ala, اقتربت الساعة وانشق القمر. The hour has come close and the moon has been split. So when the moon split, that was one of the signs of Yawm al-Qiyamah. Now, the reason why I'm mentioning this is it's connected to the Dajjal. The Prophet was in Mecca, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the moon split. The non-Muslims of Quraysh, they saw part of the moon on that side of the mountain, part of the moon on that side of the mountain, and even with that, they did not believe. They didn't believe. And that goes to show that some people, no matter what you do, they just not going to believe. لَإِنْ أَتَيْتَ الَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْكِتَابِ بِكُلِّ آيَةٍ. You bring them every ayah, they're not going to believe. وَقَالُوا لَن نُؤْمِنَ لَكَ حَتَّى نَرَى اللَّهَ جَهْرَةً. We're not going to believe in you, Musa, until we see Allah with our own eyes. You don't want to be that person. And some of us are like that as it relates to our religion. Some people will not accept from you the truth unless the sheikh that they have ghuluwin said, this is right. He can be on something that's wrong for years. The proof is clear he's wrong. But until the sheikh that he has ghuluwin says, it's wrong. And then that's when he'll accept what the sheikh say. Don't be like that. So those people disbelieve. We have people in our ummah as well, because white people, because Westerners, because America, they can't understand things because it's not explained by science. Because of that, they say we don't believe. And there's a problem. There's a problem. Because if we look at the Quran, Surah Al-Baqarah began with a description of those people who believe. Alif Lam Mim, ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ هُدًى لِلْمُتَّقِينَ الَّذِينَ يُؤْمِنُونَ بِالْغَيْبِ. Those people who believe in the unseen, you have to believe in the unseen. If you are a Muslim, you have to absolutely believe in it. Now, right now, everybody in this masjid, they have two angels with them. And right now, whenever there's a halaqah and people in the masjid, the other angels come down. Right now, there are jinn who are around us and so on. Part of our Iman is that we have to believe in this. I'm a man like you a man, and I have ghira for my wife and my daughters. I don't want anybody to see anything of my wife or my daughters. A'udhu billah. So part of my ghira is not just with Bani Adam. Prophet Muhammad mentions sallallahu alaihi wasallam sitru ma bayna a'yun al-nas ma bayna a'yun al-jan wa awrat Bani Adam and yaqul bismillah ahaduhum idha khala'a thawbahu. When a person takes his thobe off and he undresses to take a shower, to take a ghusl, go to bed, when he takes his clothes off, what would prevent the jinn from seeing the aura of that person if the person says Bismillah. Once he says Bismillah, shaitan, the jinn, can't see his wife's aura, can't see his daughter's aura, can't see his aura, which is a dalil that shaitan is weak. Bismillah is enough to stop him from coming to your house, enough to stop him from eating with you, enough to stop him from seeing your aura. So the point is, shahid, part of al-iman bil-yawm al-akhir, you got to believe in the unseen. And part of believing in the unseen is you have jealousy, you got to tell your wife. Hey, that's an adab you got to stick to. I don't want jinn looking at you. I can't see the jinn. I can't see them, but I know that they're there. And I don't want them seeing you. So the point here is, you're not a real Muslim if you don't have this issue. So those are the minor signs, and they are many. And then we have the major signs, and they're 10. The Nabi said about them, sallallahu alayhi wa ala alihi wa sallam, once they come and once they start, they're going to come very, very quickly, as if you have like a necklace with beads on it, like the dhikr bead. If you were to cut that subha, if you were to cut it, they will fall off one after another. So the last 10 are going to come very, very quickly. And from the first of them that come is the issue of Yajooj and Majooj. Before them, Ad-Dajjal, Isa ibn Maryam, and the Mahdi. And then Yajooj and Majooj. A lot of issues concerning Yajooj and Majooj, Ikhwani, that we want to mention to you. The first of which is that the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa ala alihi wa sallam, this is really important that we understand as Muslims, and he told the people, ma min shay'in yuqarribukum ila al-jannah illa amartukum bihi wa ma min shay'in yuqarribukum ila an-nari illa nahaytukum anhu. There was nothing that will cause you people to go close to the Jannah except I told you to do it. Have tawheed, pray, give zakat, fast, make hajj, wear hijab, birrul walidain. All of those issues bring you close to Jannah. Anything will bring you close to the hellfire, made it haram. Don't drink, don't smoke, don't eat qat, don't abandon salat, don't be a person who has uquq al-walidain, don't be dirty, don't be a liar. So we have a religion that explained everything that we need. Everything that we need. And I found it amazing during the Christmas holidays that in the city where I come from, Liverpool, where I'm living, they're kind of like behind. They're behind. It's not like Birmingham. It's not like London. I don't think it's like Manchester. They have masjids that put Christmas trees. People put Christmas trees in the masjid. And Muslims don't know you can't practice any aspect of Christmas. You can't say Merry Christmas. You can't do any of that. You can't show anything. But that's what we're dealing with right now. Really serious challenges about holding on to this religion. So our Nabi brought us a religion, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, explained everything we need to know. وَنَزَّلْنَا عَلَيْكَ الْكِتَابَ تِبْيَانًا لِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ. We sent a book to you, Muhammad, explain everything you people need to know in this religion. And from what we need to know is Yajooj and Majooj. There's a principle that the ulama of the Sunnah came up with, and they used to put this issue in the books about the Aqidah of the Salaf, the Minhaj al-Salafi. And when I say the Aqidah of the Salaf, I'm talking about the Aqidah of the companions, ridwanullahi alayhim ajma'in. When I talk about the Minhaj al-Salafi, I'm talking about what those companions were upon. I'm not talking about no group who call themselves Salafi, whether it's Green Lane, SP, or whatever. But the Minhaj that those companions were upon, how they went about doing things. They used to put in those books, you have to believe in Ad-Dajjal. You have to believe in the Hawd. You have to believe in the Sirat. You have to believe in Yajooj and Majooj. And they used to say, if there is a person who disbelieves in these things because he's following his hawa, desires, like the different groups on their desires, the Mu'tazila, and other than that, the Asha'ira. They used to say, if you don't believe in these things, then you won't be from the people who get rewarded, like the Prophet's fountain, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Some people reject it, so you won't drink from it. And if you reject some of these things, you won't be protected from them, because there are people who don't believe Isa ibn Maryam is returning, that there's a Mahdi that's coming back, and that there is a thing called Yajooj and Majooj. And the weird thing is, in Christianity, in the Torah, and the Injil, al-Muharrafan, in those two books, there is the belief of Yajooj and Majooj. They call it Gog and Magog. So when we were Christians, we used to believe in this, but we believed in a crazy way, in a way that is different from our religion. So how is it that the Muslim doesn't believe in it? And another tripped out thing, I find it really freaky and spaced out, really is, these people are telling us about Christmas. Listen to me, because some of us, we reject Al-Iman and Yajooj and Majooj because white people can't get their heads around it. Because the West, they think that these are asatir al-awwaleen, tales of the ancients. And then those same people who have a problem with believing in these things, they turn around and teach their children that Santa Claus is going to come on the 25th of December and is going to come down the chimney and put gifts under the tree. But they believe in that. And they believe even worse than that, because that's possible, that some overweight white man could fit down the chimney and put some gifts on. That's possible. But they believe something even worse, and that is that Allah has a son. Allah has a son. And the Muslim knows that's not true, but the non-Muslim, he's strong in his Iman. He doesn't care what you think. Whereas the Muslim knows he has the religion of the Haqq, and he's weak and apologetic in his Iman because he wants to be accepted and embraced. We say no. We have to give da'wah to Allah, hold on to our religion, hold on to our identity, give da'wah in a nice, easy way, because we're against Boko Haram, Al-Qaeda, we're against Daesh, we're against Al-Shabaab, we're against all of that stuff, but we're not against saying the truth and practicing the truth of Al-Islam. So as it relates to Yajooj and Majooj, they've been mentioned 2 times in the Quran. And even if it was not mentioned in the Quran, because their details are not in the Quran. So how many things of our religion are not mentioned in the Quran, but they mentioned in the Sunnah, because the Sunnah came to explain the Quran and to identify the details of the things that have been generalized in the Quran. In Surah Al-Kahf, an important surah as it relates to the Muslim, is connected to this surah because of the Friday. Whoever reads Surah Al-Kahf on the Friday, a light will shine for him 7 days until the next Jummah, and then 3 more days. Anyone who memorizes the first 10 ayat of Surah Al-Kahf and the last 10 ayat of Surah Al-Kahf, it will be a divine protection for him from a Dajjal. So it's a special surah. It's one of those surahs the Muslim is connected to. So it's mentioned in there. وَقَالُوا يَا ذَا الْقَرْنَيْنِ إِنَّ يَأْجُوجَ وَمَأْجُوجَ مُفْسِدُونَ فِي الْأَرْضِ. The people say, hey, Dhul Qarnayn, Yajooj and Majooj, they're making fasad in the earth. And they requested from Dhul Qarnayn to build for them a barrier, which he did. They wanted to give him money. He said, no, what my Lord has given me is better than that money. It's a big rahmah, what I'm able to do. So they built that big barrier. That's the first ayat. Second one is in Surah Al-Anbiya. حَتَّى إِذَا فُتِحَتْ يَأْجُوجُ وَمَأْجُوجُ وَهُمْ مِنْ كُلِّ هَدَبٍ يَنْسِلُونَ. When the opening is made and Yajooj and Majooj come out, they will descend on the earth from every elevated place. Those are the 2 ayat of the Quran. The details are not given to us. So inside Bukhari and Muslim, our mother, Salama, radiyallahu anha, she said that the Prophet came into her house, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in the nighttime, and he was disturbed. Something was bothering him. He said to them, La ilaha illallah. So whenever something was bothering him, he would make the ta'zeem of Allah by saying the kalima of Tawheed. La ilaha illallah, futiha al-yawm. He said, La ilaha illallah, waylun lil-arab min sharrin iqtarab. Futiha al-yawm min radmi Yajooj Majooj mithlu hadha. He said, there's no God worthy of worship but Allah. Woe unto the Arabs from the evil that has come close. When he said woe unto the Arabs, he was referring to the Muslims. He said Arabs, and he used them as a rams. They were like a symbol of the Muslims, because they were the majority of the Muslims that day. And that hadith shows the virtues of the Arabs, if the Arabs understand their religion. If a person is an Arab, or he has Arab in him. I'm from African American. My forefathers probably came from West Africa when they were stolen and brought to America. And I probably don't have any Arab in me. Somalis, they have Arabs in them. Their tribes have Arabs. There is virtue in being an Arab or having Arab in you, if you know this religion. But if you don't know the religion and you're a racist and you think you're better than people because of your tribe and because of you Arab, then there's no difference between you and Abu Lahab and Abu Jahl. There's no difference between you and this other guy from the times of the Jahiliyyah. His name was Abdullah ibn Jud'an. He was a very, very, very generous man, a lot of karam. Like Hatim At-Ta'i, Duriba bihima al-mathal fil karam. These two people, they were tremendous in their hospitality. This man, Abdullah ibn Jud'an, he used to slaughter camels and give it to the pilgrims. And they were kuffar. He used to get water from Zamzam and all of that and give it to the pilgrims. He used to pay for the poor in Jahiliyyah. He had a lot of good to him. And what was collected by the Imam Muslim, our mother Aisha, may Allah be pleased, she said, Ya Rasulullah, what's going to happen to Abdullah ibn Jad'an, Yawm al-Qiyamah? He used to do this, you do that, you used to do this, you used to do that. He did all these things. What's going to happen? The Prophet told us, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, إِنَّهُ مِنْ أَهْلِ النَّارِ لأنه لم يقل يوم من دهره رب اغفر لي خطيتي يوم الدين. He's going to be in hellfire because he never said during the course of his life, oh Allah, forgive me for my sins, Yawm al-Din, Yawm al-Qiyamah. That's a dalil. If you disbelieve in Yawm al-Qiyamah, you're kafir. The man never asked Allah to forgive him. So that's a dalil. Quraysh didn't believe in Yawm al-Qiyamah. But the reason why I'm using this, Abdullah bin Jud'an, is because along with Abu Lahab and Abu Jahl and Khalaf ibn Umayyah and these guys, they were from the best of peoples in terms of their lineage, were Arabs. But not having this deen, you're a problem. Woe unto the Arabs from the evil that has come close. The wall of Yajooj and Majooj have been opened this much. Listen, Ikhwani, because you have some people, they have PhDs, they study at real prominent universities, Cambridge, Yale, Oxford, here and there. I tell you, wallahi, I want all of you youngsters to go to university, get an education, get a good job, so you can help your families, help the masjid, help your kids, start a legacy, put a lot of emphasis on education. I don't want any of you youngsters to be bums. If you can't go to a Medina, don't just be a bum and don't get a job. Get educated so you can do something. I say, wallahi billahi tallahi, for my son to flip burgers at McDonald's, and don't sit there saying McDonald's haram, that ain't the point. For my son to flip burgers at McDonald's as a job is more beloved to me than for my son to go to Oxford University, graduate #1 in his year, but he starts saying Adam was created from a monkey. And he starts saying crazy things like that, like we had happen to some of our Shabbat. Hey had. That's not knowledge. That's not knowledge. And those are the examples that the Salaf used to give. To see my son, they would say, to see my son coming out of a place of ill repute where you go do haram, that's more beloved to me than to see him coming out of the house of a person of innovation. Because innovation is a big problem. I'd rather my son flip burgers than go to university and start saying the Big Bang Theory. That's what happened. So right now, they have satellites in the sky. They have radar on boats. They have radar on planes all over the world in airports. This stuff is managed through radars. They are able, by Allah's permission, to say it's going to rain tomorrow, it's going to snow tomorrow, and Allah knows best. But they haven't had the ability to spot Yajooj and Majooj. So therefore, I don't believe in it, because white people didn't say it was okay. And when I say white people, I think all the white people here who know me, you know what I'm not talking about, like you in a bad way. What I'm talking about is in the world right now, there was a time when people of color, they were on top. Firaun, Hammurabi, them people were on top. But when they made shit with Allah and they went astray, they had problems. Now we find white people on top. They don't believe in Allah, they make shirk and kufr, same thing's going to happen. So I'm talking about the reality, the waqi of the life right now. So because people in the West don't believe in this and you can't see it inside, You're going to disbelieve in more than half of your religion, if that's the case. So the Prophet told his companion, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, about Yajooj and Majooj. I was born March 10th, 1964. So this year, inshallah, after 2 months and some change, I'll be 57, I think, or 56, something like that. Since I was born until this day, right now, and Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he is a sadiq al-masduq. He is the one who is truthful and he should be believed. He said that Yajooj and Majooj have been put behind this wall that they can't get out of. And Yajooj and Majooj are from Bani Adam. They're human beings. They are not, someone says something crazy. They're not morons. They're not, what's that word again? They're not zombies. They're here right now. And how do we know that they're here right now? Because the Prophet said to his wife, Futihat al-yawm, radmu Yajooj Majooj. Today, the thing of Yajooj Majooj has been opened this much. That's doing his time. So they are here. Rasulullah said they're here. He said that they'll come every single day and they'll try to chisel this thing out, try to break it so that they can get through. It's not for you, it's not for me to start saying, well, why don't they climb on each other's shoulders and jump over? Why don't they make a ladder and climb up and jump? Ya akhi. Surah Al-Kahf has the story of the youngsters who went into the Kahf and they were caused to die. They died all of those years. And when they came out, the people started saying, oh, they were 3 and the dog was 4. They were 4 and the dog was 5. They were 5 and the dog was 6. That's not the point. Some people will waste time and say, the dog was a French poodle. The dog was a Doberman Pinscher. The dog was a Rottweiler. What kind of dog was it? That's not the point. The point is, Allah caused them to sleep, caused them to die, and brought them back to life again. He said in the authentic hadith, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, al-maut akhun al-yawm, al-maut akhun nawm. Death is the brother of sleep. So when you wake up in the morning, the sunnah is alhamdulillah alladhi ahyana ba'dama amatana wa ilayhi an-nushur. Because you were dead. That's the point. You were dead when you slept, and Allah brought you back alive again. You're going to die again. So don't reject al-iman bil-yawm al-akhir. So the same issue. When people start saying, why don't they climb on each other's backs? If there's so many people, if they're so strong, why this, why that? That's with the ilm of Allah, and it's not for you to ask those kind of questions because companions didn't ask. Like in the story of the cave, that's just rajman bil ghaib. You're just guessing, and that's not our religion. The Nabi says, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that as they start to chisel and chisel and chisel to get through, the sun comes down and it gets ready to set. And there's someone who's responsible for them, like a mushrif, a mudir, someone who's responsible for them. He'll say to them, okay, the sun is about to set, let's come back tomorrow. And then they'll leave and they'll come back tomorrow. And that happens every day. And the hole closes up. And then they do it tomorrow, every day. Until one day, that person is going to say to them, okay, come back tomorrow. Let's come back tomorrow. It will be said to them, say inshallah. And they say inshallah. And then the next day they're going to open up that radam. It's going to get open. And that goes to show again, ikhwani, the power and the importance of the kalima inshallah. Inshallah. That kalima was a miftah that allowed these people to come out. And why? Why is inshallah? It's not for you to ask that. There were 2 companions or a companion. He was fighting the jihad and he was killing everybody. This man was fighting with the Muslims. He was killing everybody. The companions say, Ya Rasulullah. They took a rest. They say, Ya Rasulullah, that man, he was killing everybody. He is a faddis. He is a batal. He is a hero. That man is the man. He's bad, Ya Rasulullah. He was tearing them kuffar up. Rasulullah said to them, he's from the people of the hellfire. Not a single Muslim had i'tirad. Not a single companion said, what? How? But not a single one. They said, really? Because once he said it, they knew. So when they re-engaged with the non-Muslims and started fighting, the companions were doing their thing, but they was paying attention to that man too. And something happened to the man. Somebody stabbed that man from the kuffar. And when he got stabbed, he didn't have sabr. He put his sword in the ground and he threw himself on a sword and he committed suicide. One of the biggest sins that a person can commit. And I have to say this here because we have to be on top of our shabab. Little white kid was being bullied, 9 years old. He was suffering in silence and didn't tell his parents, didn't tell anyone. He was being bullied. Like that sister Shukri, rahmatullahi alayha. We got a responsibility when stuff like that happen. Little boy was getting bullied. Little boy committed suicide. He doesn't have to pay any bills. He doesn't have a fraction of the problems that we have. But that issue about being bullied led him to commit suicide. Suicide is a problem. I don't care what is happening in your life. Being on this side of the ground is better than being on the other side because you got a chance. So never give up on life. That man committed suicide. The companions were like, wow, because they know the evil of suicide. After they finish, they say, Ya Rasulullah, you remember that man we told you about? He committed suicide, killed himself. Prophet Muhammad told them, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Inna Allah la yansur hadha deen bi rajulin fajir. It's possible that Allah can help his religion with an evil man. With an evil man. I know a lot of African Americans, they came into Islam because of the dawah that's kufr and shirk, Nation of Islam, Louis Farrakhan, Elijah Muhammad. We came into Islam because of that shirk and kufr. Despite that shirk and kufr. A man was calling to kufr and shirk, but a lot of people came into Islam from that. So, inshallah is a kalima that is a kalima tayyiba. Inshallah is a good word. But Allah let it be one of the keys that caused this thing to open. Rasulullah said when they come out, and I say this to you, you know those, what's those little things that fly? They killed that guy from Iran with, what do you call that thing? Drones. You know, those drones. I saw, like you've seen, the drone flying over Iraq and Syria, Damascus. It's unbelievable the tadmir that they did to those countries. The destruction of Syria. This kuffar just went into the Muslim countries and put those people back 50, 60, 70 years before they get themselves on track again. And playing political games. And then we don't have time for these crazy jama'at that are political coming, taking advantage of the desires and emotions of our community. We got to get back to the pure religion of Islam. But my point is, when you see those pictures of how Syria has been destroyed, all of the buildings, the infrastructure, listen to me. When you see those pictures, know that Yajooj and Majooj are worse than that. That's a walk in the park compared to the fitna of Yajooj and Majooj. Because when Yajooj and Majooj come out, they're killing everybody. Everybody who they come upon, they're killing everybody and they're eating everything up. To the point that the Nabi says, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they will come to a large body of water. There's so many people. Yajooj ba'dum fi ba'd. They're going to be like just all over the place. He said that the first group will come to a large body of water. They'll drink it up. And then they'll continue the march, the journey. The last group will come and say, hey, used to be water here. That's how many they are, and that's how powerful they're going to be. Very important that you understand this. Ikhwani, Isa ibn Maryam is going to be on the scene at that time, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And that hadith that we always hear, La tazalu ta'ifatun min ummati ala al-haqqi mansura. This hadith, there will always be a group of people from our ummah who will be helped, victorious. The actual real meaning of that hadith is talking about Isa ibn Maryam. Because when you bring all of those narrations together, that's what it's clearly referring to. That during that time, Isa ibn Maryam is going to be the leader of the Ta'ifa al-Mansura, the Firqat al-Najiyah. That day they're going to be the saved group, the saved sect. That doesn't mean that today there's no saved sect. There is a saved sect or a group of people. And they're the people who understand this religion and practice the religion the way those companions did. Not the one who blindly follow one sheikh, two sheikh, three sheikhs. Not that nonsense. We're against all forms of extremism and all forms of craziness being passed off as the religion. The Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that Isa ibn Maryam is going to be there. Allah will tell Isa, I have unleashed on the people a creation that no one will be able to stop, because Isa ibn Maryam is the one who killed the Dajjal. As you know, I'm sure you have been told that in the class of the Dajjal. He killed the Dajjal, but he won't be able to deal with the Yajooj and Majooj. Pay attention. When Yajooj and Majooj come out, Isa ibn Maryam and the believers with Isa ibn Maryam are going to go to the mountain of At-Tur. Now, as Muslims, guys, there are a lot of mountains that are part of our religion. As the Nabi mentioned, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Uhud jabalun yuhibbuna wa nuhibbuhu. Uhud is a mountain, we love it and it loves us. So there are certain mountains in this religion that are important. Some of you come from Kenya, you lived in Kenya. They have those mountains over there. What's that mountain called in Kenya? Kilimanjaro. Doesn't have none in our religion. So if a person say, I'm from Kenya, how important? Nope, your mountain's not important, none. What's important is what's in the Quran, the Sunnah. Like I want to ask somebody, the mountain of Judy, what's the significance of that mountain? The Ark of Nuh, alayhi salatu salam, stopped there. Isa ibn Maryam will take the believers and go to the mountain. I have to stop here. This is a principle in our religion. And that principle says, لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها. Allah doesn't burden people beyond your ability and your scope. Isa ibn Maryam cannot fight Yajooj and Majooj. So he never was commanded and ordered, throw caution to the wind and just fight. There's an ayat of the Quran, a command from Allah to the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, فَاصْبِرْ كَمَا صَبَرَ أُولُو الْعَزْمِ مِنَ الرُّسُلِ. Ya Muhammad, be patient the way the four major prophets were patient. The four major ones, first Nuh, and then Ibrahim, and then Musa, and then Isa. Rasulullah is the fifth, salawatullahi wassalamu alayhim ajmain. So when you talk about al-Iman in the arkan of Islam, the arkan of Iman, that you believe in the malaik and the prophets, one of the things you believe, the numbers of them, there's a difference between a Rasul and the Nabi. You have to believe that Rasulullah is the best of the prophets, and you have to believe also the prophets don't make major sins, and you have to believe there are 5 prophets that are better than all the rest. So Allah told Rasulullah, be patient the way those other 4 were patient. And if you look at the story of all 4 of them, Nuh, he made hijrah on that boat, left the people, and then Allah destroyed the people. Ibrahim made hijrah when he broke up the idols. He left his people, took his deen. Musa, he also got out of Egypt, made hijrah, left the people. Isa ibn Maryam made hijrah from the enemy. So I got to say this to you young people, going and killing people at the London Bridge, blowing up buses and doing all that stuff, blowing up people in some concert hall here. That's not helping our religion. That ain't jihad, and that don't help our religion. You help to put this religion in this city, in this country behind 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, because they're going to come up with policies to stop us from practicing our religion. So we have to learn. It is not weakness. If a person sees himself in a position where he can't protect him, he's with his wife and his daughter, and he gets on the bus. In the back of the bus, the people are starting to smoke weed, and they're acting up. He has to get up and take his family and go somewhere else. He can't start doing an amr bil ma'ruf and nahy anil munkar right there, because those people are going to hurt your kid, going to hurt your wife. So when the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam was in Mecca, some of the kuffar of Quraysh, when he was in Mecca, he was making sajda. and they put on his shoulder the intestines of a dead camel. So you can imagine that the intestines of the dead camel was rotten, it was stinky, it was wet. They put all of that stuff on his shoulder. All of the companions were sitting there. They didn't move. Not a single one stood up. His daughter Fatima, she wasn't even a grown girl. She was a baby. She was young. She came and she wiped it off with her hand, defending the sunnah according to her ability. And then she said to the kuffar of Quraysh, "Taqtuluna ar-rajula an yaqul Rabbi Allah." You do this to him only because he said, "My Lord is Allah." She gave dawah because she knows they're not going to harm her, and so she gave dawah. Abu Bakr and the other companions just sat there. Why? Because they're not in the position right now in a hostile environment of Mecca to do anything. And that's what the Prophet taught them, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And that's what he taught us. So we don't want to hear our youngsters doing these crazy things. We don't want anybody going over to Syria. No one from amongst you going to these places. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Yajooj and Majooj are going to go, they're going to kill everything in sight. Going to drink up all of the water. After they kill everybody and everything in sight, other than Isa ibn Maryam, those who are with him, they're going to say amongst themselves, we have decimated and destroyed everybody in the earth. So now what we have to do, let us destroy those who are in the heavens. So they would take an arrow and shoot the arrow in the heaven. Rasulullah said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the arrow would go up and it would come back down and it had blood on it. The hadith didn't explain what the blood is. So why are you worrying about what type? Is it A? Is it O? Did the arrow go through a bird? Did it hit an angel and the angels have blood? Did you ever read in the Quran and Sunnah angels have blood? So part of Al-Iman in the Malaika, you got to know their names, you got to know their numbers, you got to know they're created from light, you got to know they don't disobey Allah. So don't come up with these crazy nata'ij. That ain't the point. Arrow goes up, it comes down, it got blood on it. And at that point, Allah will send those from his creation who are going to destroy Yajooj and Majooj. And what are the Junud that will be sent, the soldiers of Allah? A worm. A worm that goes inside of the nose of the camel. The worm that goes inside of the nose of a camel. Yes. America right now can't deal with Yajooj and Majooj. America right now, they don't know where Yajooj and Majooj, they don't know where they are. I don't understand why we look at white people and we look at America and the West and Europe as if they are God. People are not Allah. Those worms will get into the necks of Yajooj and Majooj and then they're going to die. And there's going to be a stench that comes from them because they'll be dead all over the place that is offensive. People can't live with that smell. So Allah will send some birds. And the birds will pick up the bodies of Yajooj and Majooj and throw them in a far off distant place. Rasulullah said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, one of the birds will have the neck the size of a camel. Have you ever seen a bird the size of a camel? His neck is the size of a camel? No, I never saw that. I know one thing, you go in the desert, those eagles and falcons and hawks of the desert, them eagles are big enough to get this boy right here and carry him away. This man right here, stand up, man, stand up, little man, stand up. This is my student right here, stand up. Don't be scared, don't be scared, won't let the bird get you. Sit down. The eagle can take this boy and fly off. So the Arabs are on guard as it relates to infants when they're in the desert. They will never leave a kid sitting there. I don't know if Somalis do that. I know you guys have camels and stuff like that. And I don't know how the birds are in Somalia. I don't know. But there are big birds. But these birds are clearly bigger than that. Now again, Ikhwani, the question should not be, where do they throw Yajooj and Majooj? Where do they throw them? That's not the point. The point is, Allah destroyed them. And if Allah can destroy them, he could destroy everybody else. They don't give it the program. After that, Allah will cause the rain to come down. The rain will come down and clean up the whole earth. The earth will pull in that rain, and then it's going to be the best time that Bani Adam ever knew. The vegetation will be thrown out to the point where Prophet Muhammad says, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, 3 to 9 people will come and they'll eat a roman. We call it roman, Chinese apple, and pomegranate. You know, the one with the seeds, the red seeds in it. Best juice. Those of you who have high blood pressure. He said 3 to 9 people will eat one roman. After they eat it, they're going to build a house. He said that one cow, one sheep, one camel with milk will be enough to feed the whole Kabila. One camel, one cow. And that's the khair that's going to be at that time. When Isa ibn Maryam, those people, salawatullahi wassalam, will come off of the mountain, the rain would have purified the earth, and while it is raining, it's going to be like a mirror. It's going to be on the earth, the Prophet says, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, from the water, reflecting what is above it. And then everybody is going to be on Islam, and it's going to be a beautiful time, a utopia for the people of At-Tawheed. And Isa ibn Maryam is going to be with the Mahdi at that time with those people. That's the hadith, ikhwani, of Yajooj and Majooj. They're here right now. There was an airplane, I think a year ago, 2 years ago, I don't remember how many. I think they were from, what's that country we went to? Malaysia. They're not sure, did the pilot crash the plane or not? But anyway, that plane fell somewhere over the ocean. They didn't find all of that wreckage to this day, because of the vast nature of the ocean. So because America, the West, white people, and I'm not against white people, it's just that some of us have an inferiority complex. Some of us have this inferiority complex, even from the same group of people. If one of us, we're all of color, we're all from Africa, but the one who is lighter, they say, oh, this one is more prettier. This one is more, what you talking about? More prettier. You talking about? So I'm just mentioning this, ikhwani, because I have a responsibility to to get rid of a lot of these misconceptions that I find are a challenge for our community going forward. Just as I always tell you people, when I say what I say, is because I don't want you people to feel like you're second-class citizens. The Prophet says, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, al-Islam ya'la wa la yu'la alayhi. Islam is uppermost, and nothing is put over Islam. وَلَن نَجْعَلْ لِلْكَافِرِينَ عَلَى الْمُؤْمِنِينَ السَّبِيلَ. We never gave the disbelievers away over the believers. So we don't want you people to be real nasty and arrogant and bad to people, but we don't want you to be one of those people always scared. The ISAC, they want to bring the Sheikh, Muhammad Ali, to the place. The people say, well, we think that we don't want him to come. And the reason why we don't want him to come is because his position against homosexuality is, he says, it's not permissible. So he can't come. It's the responsibility of the ISAC to hold them, to not to say, okay, whatever you people say. No, you got to challenge people. Challenge people within the religion and within the confines of the law. Just don't be one of those people who you acquiesce about everything. Everything you want to apologize. That's Yajooj and Majooj, ikhwani, and that's what the Prophet said. Last thing that I want to mention, inshallah, and I have to mention this. This message, guys, really is a message for the mimbar, Yawm al-Jum'ah. That you young kids, you can't go with strangers. You young kids, you girls and you boys, you have to be aware of what you're doing and what's going on around you. If you don't know someone and you don't like the way someone is talking to you, feeling you, touching you, dealing with you, you have to raise the alarm bell. As parents, I know when I was little, I was free to do what I wanted to do. We used to jump from roof to roof. If you miss the roof, you're done. Stick a fork, you're done. But that's how we were. I don't even let my kids walk to school by themselves. We drop them off because I'm scared of what can happen. You have to be on top of your kids. You got to know who your kid is hanging out with. You have to know who your kid is going with. Don't leave even in the masjid. That doesn't mean we have doubt about each other, but there are people who have issues. There are people who have issues. So we have to keep our eyes open. As it relates to people who look strange and they don't fit in, we have to do our due diligence and be on top of the situation so that nothing crazy will happen. Nothing crazy, inshallah. We make al-ittihad bil asbab. We tie our camels and then we rely on Allah. Don't let your kids run free in the mosque without you being in contact with them. You tell them going outside, don't go outside the door at all. The mother doesn't want to keep the kids down. Let them come down here, but don't go outside. So that's from the rules of this masjid. For now on, any kid who's here and your parent is not necessarily with you, don't go outside. Okay, guys?